Season's greetings and happy holidays, everybody. My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode of our 12 Sprues of Kit-mas. So far, I have been having so much fun with this. We are quickly approaching the halfway point, so let's go ahead and check out day number 5. Let's grab our box. My last kit was a 1/72nd scale JU87 Stuka, and that was so much fun. That kit went together beautifully. So I'm very excited to see what we have in store for us today. Let's go ahead and make a quick incision here and pop on through there. Let's see what we have. Okay, got that label. Let's go ahead and pull that out. And, well, look at this. We have a 1/72nd scale. This is a Spitfire Mark V by Revell. Interesting. I haven't built a Revell kit yet here on the 12 Sprues. So let's go ahead and pull out that kit, check it out. Now, Revell can sometimes be kind of a hit or miss. I find certain Revell kits that I've built went together beautifully, no problem whatsoever. Others I've built, man, they were really kind of a pain. So I don't know what this one's going to be like. We just have one poly bag, nothing else in there, and the instruction manual here looks to be a very large, thick fold-out page, kind of like almost like map style. Interesting. Here are our decals, and decals look pretty nice, to be honest. We have a nice array of stencils, as well as some really colorful markings. In terms of the instructions, they are very simple. There's not really a lot of detail here in this kit, I can already tell. Though they do give you a few options. We can actually do the clipped wing Mark V, which is interesting, but I've actually just already recently built a clipped wing Spitfire. I built the Mark 14 not too long ago with my buddy Joe. So we're going to go ahead and probably do the other one here that keeps the elliptical wings. I think those are just classic Spitfire, so we're going to go ahead and put those wingtips on, and we're going to run with that version. At least they give you a couple of options, which is always great. Yeah, the instructions, though, are very simple. There's really not a lot of detail or really anything much to this kit. It looks to be very straightforward. We do have a little bit of internal cockpit details. Probably not a lot, though. Let's go ahead and check out the parts and make sure. Now, just going through the plastic here, you can tell that this is probably an older mold. We have a lot of flash in different areas. We do have some detail, though, on the inside, so if I wanted to, I could probably spruce it up, add some scratch-built details, maybe do some work on there, but I don't really want to do that. Now, we do have a couple of parts that look a little bit inaccurate, such as this rear decking right here. That doesn't look right to me, and the seat doesn't look all that great to me either. So, you know what I'm thinking about doing? Last year, I made most of the aircraft that I built into ornaments for my tree. And that was a lot of fun. And my tree looks pretty cool. It's a small tree, but it's got a lot of little ornaments on it that I built last year. So I'm thinking, let's go ahead and make this into an ornament. Very nice recessed panel line, so that's great. Yeah, there is a bit of flash though. We have to go ahead and trim up and sand down certain things, make some adjustments on the wings, but I think actually this would serve well to be an ornament. Now, starting over with the canopy, guys, we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to make this into an ornament. So what I'm going to do is something very similar to what I did on my Wildcat. We're going to go ahead and black out the undersurface of this canopy with some flat black. That's going to go ahead and just black out the detail on the inside of the fuselage. We're not going to worry about that. We won't have to worry about any of the detailing or lack of details or incorrect shape or anything like that. It'll just eliminate that altogether. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do. Once I get this all blacked out, we can glue it down to the aircraft and we can eventually put a hook in there and hang it from my tree. So that should be actually a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and jump into a time lapse, guys. The first one here of the build day. And we're going to go ahead and assemble the kit as much as we can, do some basic seam filling with some super glue. I want to go ahead and file down some of the seam lines, get everything looking really, really nice. And then we'll go ahead and start to maybe get some primer on there and see how that goes. So on with that time lapse, guys. Let's kick this into high gear. Let's do it. we are back. We have gone ahead and done a lot of work here on the Spitfire. Everything is glued together. We've got a nice preliminary coat of flat black for our primer. Went ahead and undercoated the cockpit with black and masked off the external parts. So we have the panel lines we can go ahead and airbrush. Let's go ahead and glue down the cockpit, and then we'll be able to go ahead and start doing some preliminary pre-shade and then some camo. That's going to be interesting because, again, this is one of those aircraft that has very distinct, very clean demarcation lines in their camouflage patterns. So I don't want to go ahead and just freehand everything. I'm going to have to make some masks. Very similar to what I did on the P40 and very similar to the JU87 that I built last episode. But let's go ahead and jump into that time lapse, get this thing going, get the pre-shade done, get the painting done, and move over to the gloss coat and get this thing ready for decals. Moving right along, everybody. As you can see, we have our Spitfire all nicely painted up. We're going to go ahead and move on to decals. Now, I did take some time and I airbrushed both the spinner and the band around the back of the fuselage into Mia Sky. The reason I did that is because even though we're given a decal for it, I don't know if my sky paint would match my sky on the decals here. So best just to eliminate that altogether. Very similar to what I did on my Stuka. Now, we're given a lot of stencils for the Spitfire, which is awesome. We're going to go ahead and just kind of slice apart the decals, get those ready to go, and then we'll just start applying them. I'm going to use my same technique as I do for any decal. I'm going to be using my microsol, my microset. We're just going to go bit by bit. We're going to cross out the ones that we go ahead and place and move on from there. So now let's go ahead and just start applying these decals. Then we're going to switch over to weathering. I want to do some powder work. I want to do some color pencil work and a quick sludge wash with some pen line accent. I think that's going to be perfect for this kit. Let's go ahead and jump into that time lapse and we'll be back with a finished Mark V Spitfire. Let's get this thing done, guys. All right, everybody, we are back. And one of the last things I want to go ahead and do is I want to make a hook for my ornament. Now, this is going to be very simple, much like I did last season. I'm just going to take a piece of wire. I'm going to twist it into a loop. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue that piece down into the model, drill a tiny little hole there, quick super glue, and this thing should be ready to rock. Now, I'm not really going to be too worried about it coming apart or breaking or pulling out from the hole there because it's a very, very light model. It's just plastic. There's nothing on the inside. It doesn't weigh much of anything. So I think just a little bit of super glue here with this little loop that I've made, that's going to be perfect. Now let's go ahead and put that into the model. We're going to find that balance point, get that all set up. And with our hook all nicely installed, let me go ahead and show you the finished product here for our Mark V Spitfire. And this actually came out a lot better than I thought it was going to. So let me go ahead and grab that for you. And here it is. As you can see, we've got a hook on there. We have the kit all nicely flat coated. So this is ready to go on the tree. So this actually turned out a lot better than I thought it was going to. Now on the aircraft itself, I did a little bit of weathering, as you saw. I did some colored pencil, did some powder streaking here for the guns. I overcoated everything with a Winsor Newton matte varnish coat, and I also dropped that hook right there inside the cockpit. I wanted to make sure that it was balanced, and I got a nice balance point right there in the center. So the kit itself went together decently well. I did have a few issues here and there with just tiny little parts. For example, the 20mm cannons that protrude from the front of the wings, they don't actually plug into the wing. It just kind of butts up against the leading edge, and so it's very prone to knocking them off or getting them caught on something. That's a little troublesome. As you can see, there's not much issue between wing and fuselage. There is a little bit of a thick joint there, but that's okay by my standards. On the underside of the aircraft, I did go ahead and fold up the landing gears, which it wasn't necessarily designed to do, but I just went ahead and glued those together, and then I added a little mini door right in front, right at the end of those wheel bay covers, so that it would have a nice complete look. Otherwise, a little bit of panel streaking here and there with some aim weathering powder, and then some colored pencil chipping with different areas for like the guns and the ammo containers and all that good stuff. So this was a very fun little build, probably my quickest build so far. This is going to look great on my tree. I'm very excited to go ahead and drop it on one of the lower branches, but that's going to go ahead and do it for us today here on day number 5. This little Spitfire was not the greatest kit I've ever built, but I think it was a little bit better, had better detail than our Wildcat. But I really wanted a Spitfire ornament, and there was so much flash on different parts and pieces, I would have had to do a lot more cleanup, and it would have delayed me even further. So far I've been able to get most of these kits wrapped up in just a couple of days, and then I can make the video and get it out to you guys, so it hasn't been too difficult. But I didn't want to spend too much time on the cockpit, so I went ahead and blacked that off, stuck on that hook, and voila, we've got ourselves a little ornament. Now I'm very excited to see what we have in store for day number 6, but we still have a long way to go. Thank you so much for watching. You guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. Happy holidays to each and every one of you, and we will see you back here on day number 6 of the 12 Sprues of Kit-mas. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you soon.